crafters. It's Chris from Crafts with Chris. Thank you guys so much for making a purchase at my shop or buying the card class outright from me. I really appreciate that. This week's card class is called the In Bloom class. So you'll get a packet in the mail with all your materials to make 6 cards, 3 different designs. Inside will be a PDF, and it will list all the materials used, the cuts that were made, so if you want to recreate the cards, and also it'll give you a link to a private video where you can watch the video on how to make the cards. So I'm going to set this aside. I have actually all my cards already picked out of there. So the first one today, let me pull out the first card. This is going to be card number 1. So we're going to make this one today. So your top card in your packet will be for this card. So let's go ahead and set these aside here. First thing I'm going to do is take this piece of basic white, and we're going to go ahead and do some stamping. So with your card class today, I'm using Night of Navy, Daffodil Delight, and Old Olive. So these are the colors you would need if you want to recreate this identical cards. So I'm going to open up each of these, and I'm using of course, the In Bloom stamp set. So with this one, I'm going to take this big flower here, and we're going to ink that up with the Night of Navy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink it off once, or stamp it off once, and then I'm going to come on this piece of paper and just randomly place my flower down. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stamp it off once. Can you guys see me? Probably not over here. I'm just stamping it off once, and then I'll add this. And then I'll do it one more time, because you can see how much darker it is if you don't stamp it off. So I like that look. So now in this stamp set, there is this smaller flower here, right here, this guy. We're going to do the same process with our Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to ink this, ink this up over here, and I'm going to stamp this off. Let me just close this up because we are done with the Night of Navy. So I'm going to stamp that off once, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp it on there. So it's nice and light. And I'm going to do another one, I think, down here in the corner. Okay, so we are done with the Daffodil Delight. And then we're going to bring in the Old Olive. And in this stamp set, there is this leaf here. There's actually a couple of leaves, so it's up to you. I think I'm going to take the longer, skinnier one. And again, I'm going to ink that up with Old Olive, and then we're going to just ink that off once, and then I'm just going to bring that in here. Just gives it that nice little pop of green in there. And I think that's enough. So in this stamp set, there are some sentiments in here. I am going to use You Are Amazing for this one. And then in your card packet, you'll find this little shape here. This was cut with the Pierced Bloom dies. And I'm going to bring back in the Night of Navy. And I'm going to ink that up and then just stamp that right in the middle of that. That's it for our stamping for this card. So I'm going to bring in the card base, which is your Night of Navy, which is the Night of Navy. You will have a crease mark. Well, you should have a crease mark in yours. So you're just going to fold it right in half on that crease mark. And then you have a piece of basic white. You just want to glue that on the inside of your card. Use whatever adhesive you have on hand. So this is going to go right on the inside. And then on the outside here, this piece that we stamped, this is going to go right on our Daffodil Delight cardstock. So this will give it just a little bit of a border. And then I'm going to use some more snail, or some Stampin' Seal, I should say, on the back of this. And then I'm going to line this up right on the edge of this card here to give it a little bit of a border of that Night of Navy. So it'll look like that. And then I used Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. In your card packet, you will have these two flowers. One's a bigger size, one's a little bit smaller there. So I'm going to take the You Are Amazing. I'm going to use some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals to apply that to the front of my card. And then this is going to go right in the center. Just like that. And then your two little flowers here, we're going to flip those over. They're each going to get a dimensional. And if you don't have the dimensionals, just use whatever adhesive you have. And I'm going to put one of the flowers up here, one of the flowers down here. Then in your bag of goodies that you'll have your all your flowers. But in there you will see these guys. These are the gold glitter enamel dots. You'll get 4 each, so you'll get 2 large, 2 small. I just did the 3 because I knew I was going to do one. So I'm going to take my Take-A-Pick tool, and I'm going to use that to get this off. Now with these, I've noticed that the backing sometimes comes off. Like this one right here, the backing just came off. So if that happens, you can either take just this and glue it on, or you can take your backing off, stick that wherever you want that to go. And then what I did was just took a little dot of my liquid glue, and I'm going to pick these up with the tweezers. And then I'm just going to stick that right there so that gold backing will be there and it'll show the gold through. Or like I said, you could just leave the backing off and just put your little flower there. So that'll take a little bit to dry because of that adhesive. So let me see if I can get this off. You could also take the paper or the plastic and kind of bend it, and then you can see you can get that off that way too. But I wanted to show you guys, if that backing comes off, it's not a big deal. Like I said, you can either just glue it on without the backing or do what I did with on that big flower. So that will glue up. It'll tack down and glue there. So you just want to set that to one side. But that's it for card number 1. So this is card number 2. And I really love this one with these shiny flowers. So we're going to go ahead and make this card now. So in your materials, you do have a piece of thick Whisper White. You should have a crease in it, so you fold that right in half. You also have a piece of Flirty Flamingo with this cut right out of the front here. That's from the Pierced Bloom dies. And then your 2 flowers, which I have already glued the centers down. Because they are the foil, I wanted to make sure that they're glued down. So I used liquid mono glue to make sure that that sticks for you. So those are already glued down. And then you have 3 pieces of baker's twine in there, Night of Navy. So with this one, in the stamp set, there's this little flower in here. Right here, this little guy. I mean, you could use any flower. I just liked this one on here. And you're going to take your Night of Navy. That is the only color I'm using on this one. And I'm going to go ahead and get my piece of paper out here again, because we're going to do some stamping off. So this card here, or this, I'm sorry, this piece here, your Flirty Flamingo, I'm just going to take this guy, stamp it off, and then I'm just going to randomly place these flowers on here. And it's up to you how many you want to put on. I don't know if I want to put many more on. Let's see, I'll put one here. I think that's probably enough. So that's all we're doing for the stamping on that for right now. We will bring our Night of Navy back in a minute. So now this is going to go right on the front, but before we do that, you're going to bring in your pieces of twine. So on the back side here, you want to flip it over. You want to take your Stampin' Seal and just give it 2 lines or so close to the edge. Now, you know my favorite trick I like to do. This one here, we're going to actually go corner to corner. So we're going to take this, fold it over close to the corner up here, and then down here. So it's at a little bit of a diagonal. Then you're going to take another piece, do the same thing, but on the opposite sides here. Oh, I pulled too much string back there. Like that. And then this one here, I promise you guys will have enough string to wrap around. And then this one is going to go right in the middle. Doesn't have to be, you know, completely at the ends, or completely at the corners. See how I did a little off the corners there? This is going to go right in the middle to create that really super cool design. And again, I pulled too much string over here. There we go. So you'll get a design something like that, where you got that little, where they meet there in the middle. So now I'm just going to take my adhesive and just apply that. And then down here, what I'm going to do, I think, is use my liquid mono glue. I want to make sure that this is going to stick to my card. So I'm just going to put a little bit here. You know, if you don't have the liquid mono glue, use what you have, but just try to get it close enough around that opening so it doesn't pull up on your card. So now you're just going to take this and apply it to the front of your card. It'll have enough of a base around there for that Whisper White. So it'll look like that. Isn't that super pretty? So now right here, we're going to bring back in that Night of Navy. And let's see, in here there is a sentiment that says, "You mean so much to me." Right there. That's what we're going to use to stamp. Full strength. I'm going to use my Night of Navy. I'm going to center it right in here. Stamp it down. Now, I'm going to also give you guys the pieces that were cut out of there. You can do what you want with them, but they'll also be in your card packet. I didn't use them on any of the cards, but you can use them and do what you want with them. So now, let's go ahead, bring in these really pretty flowers. One of the flowers, I will use a Stampin' Up! Dimensional. This one is going to get popped up right here, right where those pieces meet. And then this one I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal. You could pop this one up too. You could use whatever kind of adhesive you have. And I'm going to put this one down here. So isn't that super cute? So that's it. You do not need a piece of paper on the inside because it's already white. So that is card number 2. Okay, so this is card number 3. I love this one. I think this is my favorite. I know I said I didn't have one, but I think this is it. So this one here, you'll have all your pieces to put this together. So in here, let's do our stamping first. We're only going to stamp on this one piece here. Again, I'm using Night of Navy to stamp that out. There is a happy birthday, you really are the best sentiment in there. So I'm just going to take that, ink that right up, and then this is just going to go right in the center of that. And that's it to the stamping. Let's just go ahead and set this right off to the side. We'll apply that later. Let's bring in all of our flower pieces. So in your set, you will have double this because you'll have enough for 2. So let's bring out our flowers. So make sure they're all facing the right way. So your stitching is up. You can tell which way is the correct way. So you'll have 2 little round pieces and 2 of these little flowers here. What I'm going to do is I will use my liquid glue. I love the liquid glue. I use it a lot. So on your little circles, you're just going to put a dab. Don't need a lot. And then the circles are going to go on these 2 flowers here, the bigger flowers, just in the middle. Okay, so these will set over here. Now these 2 flowers, they're going to get these guys in the center. And we'll set them aside. So now, just put that there for now. I'm going to bring in your card base, fold it in half on your score lines. Then you have this pretty piece of Night of Navy. It's dry embossed. So you'll feel on here one side is raised up and one is down. I'm going to use the raised up side. I'm just going to glue that right on the front. So whatever kind of glue you want to use. So your Daffodil Delight will give it a nice frame. So now it's just a matter of putting your flowers on. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the happy birthday down here. Then I can work around that with my flowers. I did use some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals to put that on. So I'm just going to put this right on the very bottom right hand corner here. And then before I put my flowers on, I do want to go ahead and put your piece of basic white on the inside. And now we're just going to put these flowers on. So what I did was with the bigger flower here, I took these 2 longer pieces. I'm going to use my liquid glue to apply these. I'll just put some on the backs of the leaves here. So I'm just going to make sure this tacks down before I move my hand. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this guy here. So I put them together like this so the two stems are almost touching. And then I'm going to put the liquid glue in the middle of this flower. And I'm just going to line that up. And I like to put it right in the center because then these kind of pop up a little bit. Gives it a little bit more depth instead of gluing the whole flower down. So then I'll take this guy. I'll put this one over here. So I'll put my leaf on first. Again, I'll just give it a little bit of the liquid glue here. Let that set for a minute. And then the same thing, I'm just going to do some glue right in the center here. And then apply that right there. Then you'll have these two little flower piece or stem pieces. And again, the liquid glue goes a long way, so you really do not need a ton of it. I'm going to put this over here. Then I'm going to take the bigger of the two smaller flowers, another little dab of liquid glue. And then the last guy is going to go right here. Again, and then that's it to that card. Isn't that card so pretty? So those are the cards in the In Bloom card class. I hope you guys enjoyed this card class. Thank you guys.